Well, we hope you enjoyed our virtual tour and welcome to our Q&A. We're so sorry you can't be here in person today, but we've assembled some lovely staff right across the school who will be here to answer some of our most commonly asked questions. So we hope through getting answers to those questions, you'll get a feel for the school and also get a feel for the sorts of people who work here. So until we can see you in person, I hope you enjoy the Q&A.
Thank you, Dr. Townsend, and welcome. My name is Rebecca Hambor and I will be hosting today's Q&A session, and we really look forward to being able to provide families with all the information they'd like to know about St Catherine's. Our first question is to Dr. Julie Townsend. Julie is our headmistress and has been with us for 11 years. She grew up in Africa, was educated in the UK and is passionate about enabling women to succeed through education. Her qualifications include a PhD, an MBA. Julie, our first question today is, what is St Catherine's unique point of difference compared to other girls' schools in the East and Sydney as a whole?
Well, you know, it's really interesting because I was talking to one of our Year 12 girls the other day, and she said when you're out in the community, you can always tell who the St Catherine's girls are because they're down to earth and grounded. And I think, you know, for me, that really sums up the school. I think it epitomises what we are as a community, that we're, whether we're the parents or the teachers or the support staff or the girls, hardworking, down to earth, can-do attitude. And I think that's what defines us as a school. And there are so many things that go into the culture of a school, but I think a few of them for us are, first of all, our purpose is really clear, and that's to develop young women of character and intellect. And we were inspired by that by Martin Luther King, who was speaking in the 1940s to his old university, Morehouse College. And he said, intelligence is not enough. Intelligence plus character. That's the goal of a real education. And it's absolutely true, because it doesn't matter how good your academic background is, it's your character that unlocks that. And we spend a lot of time in school with our academic care programme, just helping girls develop their character and understanding what it means to be a person of good character. So that's one thing. I think the other thing that really defines us is that we are genuinely non-selective. And you can see that in the school because we have a really broad curriculum. So for example, in the humanities, some schools will only offer economics. We offer economics and business studies and legal studies. We offer 5 languages. 4 modern languages and Latin. So we really want to encourage girls to have that sense of purpose, that sense of can-do attitude. And you can see that through our co-curricular as well, which you'll hear about. And another thing I think is that we have a really strong sense of service education. So as soon as the girls join us, they have opportunities to serve in their local community and as they get older in the global community. And we say to the girls often, yes, of course your education is important, think about what it can do for you, but also think about what can you do with your education for someone else in the world. So I think there's a lot of things that go together to make the sort of character or the culture of a school. But those are a few of them.
Next up, we have Mrs. Deb Clancy. Deb is Head of Boarding and Academic Care and has been at the school since 2002. She loves it so much, she now lives on site. Deb's background is teaching biology and science, and many would describe Deb as very firm, but very fair. We get asked a lot about our twin pillar approach to schooling. Can you elaborate on that, please?
I think our approach in the senior school is absolutely a holistic one for all of our students. And Kylie and I, we want the girls to really work hard, but we also want them to experience that broader life of St Catherine's, whether it be sport, whether it be music, whether it be service, whether it be one of those clubs or enrichment activities. It's so important to our girls to do more than just attend class and work hard. When girls come into the school, they come in and are placed in a mentor group, which is house-based, and there's about 15 or 16 girls in that house group. And it's in that group that Daisy's wellbeing program is delivered, and that wellbeing program deliberately teaches the skills of resilience, character, how to deal with problematic situations, how to deal with behavioural issues that they're seeing, and how to seek help if they need it. So how to be proactive when they have issues in the playground, and we really want our girls to be able to do that. I also look after the year mentors, and there's a few of our year mentors in here today, and the year mentors look after a year group each in the senior school, and our year mentors are the most fabulous group of staff you will ever see. They know your girls. They know the girls in each year group, and they know what they enjoy. They know their skills, and they know where they need to work. They know whether a girl wants to do a cultural exchange in year 9, or they know whether a girl wants to try debating. So they're really targeting our opportunities to the girls, and they know exactly where they sit, they know their strengths, and they know their weaknesses. So we have such a great team around us to look after your girls. It's absolutely amazing. And the school, I think, when you walk in, and I know someone said this the other day, you walk in and you get this feeling of people are happy to be here. The girls are happy to be here. They say thank you when they leave a classroom.
Next up, we have Ms Kylie McCullough. Kylie is Head of Academic Challenge, entering her 5th year at the school, and specialises in design and technology, computer studies and religion. Kylie is instrumental in assisting students in making the right subject choices into Year 11 and 12, and she is obsessed with structure and routine. Kylie, we have a double question for you today. Firstly, how do you monitor the progress of a student, and how do you determine when and if a student requires extra help?
Thank you, Rebecca. All students at St Catherine's are monitored really closely. We want every student at St Catherine's to be challenged at a level that is appropriate to them. The heads of department and classroom teachers work really closely to analyse a student's results, both those results that come up in simple class tests or quizzes, or those results that come from more formal assessment tasks. During our study and collaboration initiative, the heads of department and teachers, as I said, really analyse, collaborate and proactively call parents both to celebrate the success of their daughter's achievements, but also to let them know when they're a little concerned about how their daughter has performed. Those conversations are always filled with what we can do to assist and support, what initiatives can we put in place, what support can happen. And our heads of department also work really closely with our learning enrichment team. St Catherine's really values, appreciates and respects the capacity and experience that our teachers have. Our teachers are fabulous. They don't rest on their laurels. They work hard to ensure that they are well read and they are across current pedagogical and teaching practices. And in this way, they ensure that that practice is really passed on to the students and the students are able to thrive.
And welcome Ms Daisy Turnbull-Brown, Director of Wellbeing. Daisy is all about focusing on mental health and future-proofing our students for the world we live in. Daisy has been with us for 8 years and has taught across various school systems and is about to release her first book on why children should take more risks. Daisy is also an obsessive crocheter. Thank you for joining us, Daisy. Can you please expand on the position the school takes in regards to wellbeing and positive psychology? Please give us an idea of some of the programs you run.
Thanks, Becca. Our wellbeing program is really based around our school values of integrity, resilience, respect, relationships and service, and we practice that from K to 12. The program is strength-based, so we work with the students' strengths using things like the VIA Character Strength Survey, so students can identify their own strengths and how to develop them, and also identify strengths in other people. The program also works around their curriculum and developmental stages. So for example, in Year 9, we have a great focus on relationships. And Year 10, we focus on careers and goal setting. And Year 11 and 12, there's a lot of stuff around stress management and life beyond school. I think it's a great program and the girls really respond well to it and they appreciate learning about these things when they go into university. We see that in alumni surveys we do.
And if I could just add that the other thing that Daisy's introduced this year is financial wellbeing. So when you think now, women, when they retire, are likely to be much worse off than men, and live longer for men, so actually have to be much more competent with their financial well-being. Daisy's introduced a whole week of thinking about financial aspects of your life. So moving from how to budget, how to save money, all the way through to superannuation. And I think it's those sorts of things that are so important in your well-being development.
I think it was the week was really useful, and it was scary for me having a Year 12 student say that she had a superannuation account that had no money in it because she kept getting charged fees and realising she'd been at school for 6 years and that had happened. So I think it's really important to explicitly teach these life skills to students, and we often assume that it's being done at home, or home assumes it's happening at school. So there's always an opportunity to develop that.
And even if they're not automatically interested in it, they'll remember it for the future and know that it's something to think about, and that's really important.
Welcome to Mrs. Elizabeth Worsley. Head of the junior school, whose background is teaching music, Elizabeth has been in education for 30 years and writes school musicals in her spare time. She is also passionate about playing the piano. Elizabeth, many parents elect to start at St Catherine's in kindergarten, Year 3 and Year 5. Can you expand on the benefits in doing so, please? And in addition, also talk to us about the leadership opportunities in the junior school.
I think that there are two main benefits for starting your daughter earlier at St Catherine's. The first one of those would be that we get to know your daughter and we get to know our students. So that's just not about the academics, that's about getting information at an earlier age so that we can then pass that information on as they move into the senior school. And the second one, I think, is the opportunities that we have here at St Catherine's. So from kindergarten right through to Year 6 and beyond into the senior school, we have specialist teachers that are teaching their specialist subject areas, so music, drama, French, etc. And the girls are exposed to all of these subjects from kindergarten, as I said. They also have a wealth of activities and opportunities with BTC, and which is beyond the curriculum. All of these opportunities that they have at an early stage, so they can really find that something that makes them happy, that they find meaning in their life, something that they enjoy doing, and that's really important. Where leadership is concerned, I've actually brought some of our leaders here today. So we have 3 of our junior school leaders, and they are in Year 6. So we have Abby, Gracie and Roxy, and I thought the best idea would be that they could actually tell you of something that they love doing in the junior school or some of the experiences they've had. So we might start with Abby.
One of my highlights in the junior school has been the BTC program, especially the dancing, because it's one of my favourite activities and I can get to expand my skill set while also having lots of fun with my friends and learning how to work in a team.
And Gracie?
One of my highlights from school has been camp. I absolutely love going away with all my friends and spending some time away from home. I also love learning lots of new character strengths there.
My favourite thing about the junior school is how every year we have an athletics, swimming and cross-country carnival where we get to cheer on our houses, learn new songs and have fun outdoors doing different sports. In 2019, my relay team broke the state record.
Well done. Very good. And the exciting thing is you'll have seen from the RPAC fly-through that we're about to build a performing arts centre. So your performances now will be able to be done from next year, halfway through next year, in a purpose-built performing arts centre with a fly tower, with an orchestra pit that really will allow, the really great talents of the girls to shine properly. So we're looking forward to that.
And in regards to transitioning from the junior school to the senior school, we welcome the lovely Bella in the back row. Bella has been with us since kindergarten and is currently in Year 11, about to start Year 12 in Term 4 of this year. So Bella, tell us about your life from transitioning from the junior school through to the senior school and obviously nearly at the very tail end of your school experience.
So like you said, I started here in kindergarten, and when I finish in Year 12, I'll be known as a survivor. So
The benefits of being a survivor is that in the junior school, a wide range of co-curriculars were made available to me, which means that I could experiment with different activities and find out what my interests and hobbies were. So when I got to year 7, I knew what I enjoyed, like sports, gymnastics, drama. I also think that throughout the whole of the junior school, especially years 5 and 6, the teachers really started to prepare you for year 7. So when I got to year 7, that transition was really smooth, and the workload got a bit heavier. And they also started to teach us how to properly use our diary, which meant we could balance our life with our co-curriculars and our schoolwork, which is really helpful.
And what will life be like for you beyond St Cath's? You've had a long time here and it'll be a big change, I should imagine. What is the one thing you think you take away from St Catherine's?
I've been so grateful this whole time being here with such great teachers who've been so supportive, and also the community, like the girls and also the teachers, which have helped me get to where I am today, I guess. So I'm really grateful for that.
Next, Ms Emily Torr. Emily plays a vital role as a Year 7 mentor, both educationally and, more importantly, emotionally. Emily has been with St Catherine's for 6 years and has a flair for technologies, particularly food technology. Emily lives and breathes netball, and in her spare time runs a netball club of 350 players whilst coaching and playing herself. Emily, the start of the senior school is so important, and Year 7 feels like such a leap, particularly for new students. Can you talk us through how St Catherine's manages this?
I believe we've really built quite a strong program to transition in all our new students into the senior school, particularly focused around Year 7 in my role. We look at making sure that the girls have community focus and support around them. They have their own space in the senior school with their Year 7 common room where their lockers are located. I also live in that space as well with my office, so the girls can come and see me anytime that they need any extra support or they just want to share something great about their day. So that makes that start and transition into the senior school really strong. When looking at the academic care program with a lot of key staff like Deb and Daisy, we look at tailoring what we do in wellbeing time in particular to the different activities and things going on with the girls at the time. We also make adjustments throughout the year where things pop up every now and then that could be addressed at the time. We also look at scheduling out the year, particularly in term 1 with camp, to benefit the girls in building those relationships. So camp happens within the first couple of weeks of school. The time away is really great for the girls to just spend time with one another, learn about each other and what they've got in common. And they also get some really good quality time with their house leaders during that time, which is excellent. Taking on from what Elizabeth and Bella had said about the junior school, we also look at starting that transition program in Year 6 as well, which I think is a real benefit. I get a lot of time with the girls, meeting them, learning about them and them learning about me. And I also am able to chat with the junior school teachers as well to have a really thorough handover so we are well aware of all the girls and their needs and how to make that transition smooth for them.
Emily, I should imagine the start of Year 7, as we've already said, is pretty daunting, particularly for new students, but I would imagine going away from camp and coming back from camp would probably be 2 very different experiences. Do you really find it very settling for the girls?
I do. I know that there are always a few nerves going into camp and girls find excitement and joy in it, but then also a little bit of nerves in the sense that they don't know one another. But coming back from that, you can see that time away has really been really beneficial. They know a bit more about themselves. They feel a little bit more confident in the girls around them and the teachers. And so they're a lot more settled and feel familiar with the environment and a bit more confident to take on some more challenges and not be afraid of making a few mistakes along the way because it's Year 7 after all.
Emily, you touched briefly on the house system at St Cath's. I'd like to introduce Caitlin Lamore, who is a house leader and also a humanities teacher. Caitlin, can you talk us through the house system here at St Catherine's and what girls can expect if they join the school?
So at St Cath's we have 7 houses. The house system is groupings of girls from 7 to 12. And in those groupings they compete in all sorts of different competitions. Swimming and athletics carnivals, cross-country carnivals, our clubs and choirs evening, and our PC competition at the end of every year. The house system is one of the strongest points, I think, of the school, of any school really, and we do a really great job at St Cath's in making the house system something that the girls really cherish. It provides them with so many opportunities, but I think from my perspective, most importantly, it gives them the opportunity to interact with girls from other year groups that they wouldn't otherwise have interactions with. The inter-house competitions provides a lot of friendly rivalry between houses, which is great for developing a sense of community amongst the girls in each house. And that's particularly helpful for our Year 7 students and any new students coming into the school because it gives them something to identify themselves with in the school community, which I think is really, really beneficial.
Would I be right in saying that clubs and choirs is probably the most popular house event apart from any sporting event like Sports Day? Do any of you senior girls want to add any value with clubs and choirs? Most people would not know what that is, so if anyone could expand on that, that would be great.
So clubs and choirs essentially is led by 3 house officials and 2 of the house captains, and the house becomes a choir. So there's other girls who join in, they play instruments and they get taught a song which is based around a theme. And there's a winner on that night, and there's also 2 representatives, a junior speaker and a senior speaker, who give speeches on behalf of their house as well. So it's an amazing night. I think it's probably my favourite night of the year.
Next we have Mr Andrew Yanitsis, Head of Sport and Beyond the Curriculum. Andrew has been with us since 2012. He is coach of the Australian men's junior water polo team, and Andrew's passion is ensuring that sport is part of every student's life here at St Catherine's. Andrew, what is on offer in senior school sport? And can you tell us, please, what is beyond the curriculum?
Yeah, well, the answer is a lot. First of all, there's over 30 sport and activities on offer here for the girls at St Catherine's. In the sport side of things, we have 2 streams. The representative sport, which is your carnivals where you represent the school at a carnival, like athletics, swimming, rowing and tennis. And then we have the team sports side of things where you represent the school usually on a Saturday morning in sports like basketball, water polo and AFL. Then we have beyond the curriculum, as Abby mentioned before as well, where we have our dance lessons, gymnastics, tennis, cadets and Duke of Edinburgh. Along with this in the sports department, we have an elite sports program where our student athletes who excel in their chosen sport have a really clear support network and pathway for them to excel. And actually we have Jamie, who is a Year 11 student, in that program here to share her experiences.
Yeah, so as part of the Elite Sports program, we get a lot of help from the PE staff to help us manage our timetable with study and music or any other co-curriculums you do, as well as the sport. And if I have carnivals or a competition, the sports department help talk to my year mentors and other teachers to facilitate maybe a different assessment or a different schedule. We also get access to the gym, and the PE staff are always there in the afternoon or in the morning to train with us, which is really convenient because we can go to the library after school as well and get all our study done at school.
Richie is Head of Aquatics and a 3-time Olympian and has been with us since 2012. His main goal is for all students to be confident in the water, whether they have a passion for the water or not. Richie, can you talk to us about the school's aquatic program and what that means for our new RPAC development too, please?
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. Well, here at St Cath's, we've always been strong in aquatic sports. We have a water polo program that runs in terms 1 and 4, and we provide like a training environment for both social and elite level players. And I think that for us is the key, because that's why we're number 1 in the state for water polo, because we do facilitate every girl's need from whether they are social or elite level. Our swimming programs, they start as early as kindergarten with K-2 Learn to Swim and go all the way through to senior school squads. And with RPAC opening mid next year, our aquatic programs will expand, and that'll enable us to run all year round.
Next we have Miss Joanna Graffin. Joanna has been with us for 5 years and is currently a Year 11 mentor and a tertiary advisor. Jo specialises in legal studies and is a brilliant sounding board for our girls on integral issues, both educational and social. Jo also makes a mean caramel slice. Jo, in Year 10, career testing commences and the importance of Year 11 subject selection becomes even more apparent in preparation for Year 12 and beyond. Can you talk us through this process and how vital it is for girls as they progress through their senior school years.
Yeah, so at St Cath's we have the tertiary program, which really does start at the beginning of Year 10. We do a formal Moresby test, which allows the students to demonstrate what their attributes and skills are. There is a formal reporting process where they receive a written report and that we go through with their parents. And I think that is a really integral part of the whole program because it starts the conversation earlier than perhaps the girls are ready to have the conversation, but it's really important because it gets them to start thinking about what they're good at, what they might like to be better at, and what they'd like to do throughout the rest of their school and beyond St Catherine's. So then we do consolidate that in our wellbeing program, which I work with Daisy and also with Kylie and Deb to really bring that forward through our program. We then look at what subjects the girls are going to select going into Year 11 and how that might affect their tertiary choices for university. So Jamie and Bella have just gone through that whole process and are working really hard on their Year 11 subjects now. We then also help the girls to engage with universities and the UAC application, the University Admissions Centre, and we support them with all their applications beyond St Cath's, which I think is a point of difference in that we really do support them every step of the way. That also means that we have universities come in and speak to the girls, or other vocational places speak to the girls, and we can help to get all that information consolidated and out to the girls, which is something that St Cath's is really good at, I think.
And do you think, Jo, or any of the senior girls, do people get surprises through their career testing? Do they think that they might be heading in a specific direction and then all of a sudden they get this report that tells them something quite the opposite?
I think so. They certainly, sometimes it confirms what they might have thought. Other times it might give them something to think about, and that's when having conversations with the girls, with their mentors, with their year mentors is really valuable. Then they start to explore a bit further, which is what we want.
I'd also like to just add that our alumni office has established quite an extensive careers program working with Jo, and we're regularly bringing back young alumni to come and talk to the girls either in career conversations or as speakers in the school assembly program. So really trying to provide that support and that mentorship as the girls move from Year 12 into being young alumni.
The process of subject selection is a wonderful practical example of parents, students and the school working together. Each student is offered the opportunity for an individual meeting together with their parents regarding their subjects for Year 11 and 12 and life beyond St Catherine's.
Next, we have Mr. Renee Mercer. Renee is our Director of STEM and Innovation. Renee loves all things technical and has had a lifelong passion with computers and all forms of technology. When not at school, Renee is the master of baking sourdough bread and started baking it way before it became trendy to do so during the COVID-19 lockdown. Renee, talk to us about STEM and what it means and why we have it here at St Catherine's.
Sure. So STEM is an acronym that stands for Science, Technology, Engineering and Maths, and it's an umbrella term used to explain that range of different disciplines and fields of work. It's really important for a number of reasons, but I think it's particularly important at St Cath's because our role as educators is to prepare our girls for the world they're going to move into. And in Australia at the moment, the nature of the workforce that our girls will go into is changing very rapidly. Things like AI and automation are creating great opportunities and growth in STEM fields, but it's also reducing jobs in a number of more traditional areas. And that trend is only predicted to increase. Australia, on top of this, is experiencing a skills crisis that was highlighted by the recent announcements to the changes to university funding, trying to support graduates going into STEM fields. Now, while that presents a lot of opportunities, it also presents a lot of problems, particularly for our girls, because when you look at the employment data, STEM fields disproportionately have a gender imbalance to men to women. In many industries, sometimes as high as 5 to 1. And not only that, the number of girls choosing to study those STEM fields at a university level is also roughly at that same ratio. So the problem's not getting better unless we do something active about it. And so our role as STEM educators in this school is to encourage our girls, give them opportunities to build the confidence to consider a career in STEM fields that they might not have previously thought of.
And do you think, in your experience, it is a confidence issue?
Hugely. So some really interesting employment data that was mentioned by one of our deputy head girl a couple of years ago at Clubs and Choirs was the idea that women will often not go for a job unless they can tick 100% of the criteria, whereas men are much more willing to only meet half the required criteria and assume that they can learn or figure out the rest. And so we have that same problem with our girls. A lot of girls, when I've spoken to them, have mentioned, oh, I was really interested in robotics, but I didn't sign up because I don't know how to build a robot. And so by giving a wide range of opportunities and encouraging the girls to take part in them, it builds up the confidence in them to be able to try things that they haven't previously been able to do. And so by giving them those opportunities, particularly in software and engineering, it enables them to see that they are capable of doing things and to choose that as a pathway moving forward.
And is there a specific pathway that seems to be slightly more popular than others?
Our robotics program is hugely popular, particularly in the senior school. We had a great session today, actually, with about 20 Year 9 girls who are interested in signing up to join our program for the rest of the year.
The other thing that data shows actually is not that girls aren't good at science, but sometimes they're better at literacy subjects. And so they choose those over science, even though they're just as capable of science. Renee's introduced this year a Year 10 STEM elective course.
Next, we have Mr. David Gresham. David is Director of Music at St Catherine's. He's been here for 14 years and is firm in his position that music should be accessible to everyone. He has studied at the Conservatorium of Music and is a mad keen trumpeter. Please talk to us, David, about the music ensembles available at St Catherine's, the music tours we take part in, and musicals with other schools.
So we have close to 30 ensembles and we run 3 main streams, and those are choir, strings and band. Within each stream there's 4 ensembles, and that takes our students from absolute beginners all the way through to our most advanced students. We also then have extension ensembles, and that can be senior orchestra, jazz ensembles like big band and stage band, contemporary groups such as the rock bands, a cappella, chapel band, and other groups such as string quartets, flute ensembles or a saxophone ensemble. Our musicals, senior school runs a musical every 2 years, and we work in conjunction with the local boys' schools. Our junior school actually runs 2 musicals every year. Our Year 6 students put on a production each year, and this year they're performing Aladdin. And our Stage 1 students, Kindergarten, Year 1 and Year 2, put on a Christmas musical each year. International tours take place every 3 years, and that gives our students an opportunity really to broaden their horizons, to work with students at schools overseas, to take master classes with international conservatoriums, to perform at events such as Christmas markets, and they've performed at some of the world's great venues. They've performed at Mass at St Peter's Basilica and St Mark's in Venice, and Anzac Day in Westminster Abbey. And so that's a really wonderful opportunity for our students.
And tell us, you obviously have some students that start in Year 7 that have a music history through their primary years, but I would imagine there'd be some students that haven't had that advantage. Do we have some students that start from fresh with a new instrument in Year 7?
So first thing we do is we talk to the student and their parents to first gauge where their interests lie. It's really important that a student is picking an instrument that they want to play. And then we also talk to them about what their abilities are to best match an instrument with them. Because we have so many ensembles, then there's usually an ensemble that will suit that student so that they can fit in and immediately start making music, which is hugely important.
Next, we have Ms. Natalie Miller. Natalie is our Director of Learning Enrichment from kindergarten through to Year 12. Natalie is brilliant working with those that struggle, but also with those that are talented and gifted. She has a Master's in Special Education and a Graduate Certificate in Gifted Education. And in her spare time, she likes to run. A lot. Natalie, we have this question often that comes up through open mornings and often at interviews as well. A family may have a daughter that struggles academically, but may also have a daughter that's quite bright. What does the school provide at either end of the spectrum?
So at St Catherine's, we're fortunate to have a faculty that works across both the junior school and the senior school that caters for both our support and our gifted students. We also actually cater for those EALD girls, so they're our students that have English as a second language. We have a faculty of both teachers and assistants that work really closely with our classroom teachers to ensure that our support girls receive intervention, and also our gifted girls benefit from extension work. I'm excited to also mention that this year we started our fielding class, so that's our gifted stream that we have in the junior school. It's our Year 5 and 6 class that started just here, and again we've combined our girls that have got similar abilities together in that class. And actually Kylie will mention about what happens in the senior school a little bit later. Outside the curriculum, our girls compete in many various activities such as future problem solving and tournament of the minds, etc. Julie, even this week at Assembly, was talking about our girls competing in a maths competition where we reach the national level, and we often actually do reach state and national level. So that's beyond the classroom. We're an inclusive school, and to be honest, I'd like to hand you over to one of our great learning enrichment teachers, Neil Martin. He is the focus teacher for kindergarten, Year 1 and 2, and he can give you an insight of what happens in the junior school with our enrichment team.
We're really lucky. Each stage has a learning enrichment focus teacher who works with the student, the classroom teacher, and the parents to ensure that their learning needs are addressed. With regards to support and extension opportunities, they happen both in the classroom and in small groups. They primarily focus on literacy and numeracy, but as Natalie mentioned, it's very much student needs specific. We always make sure that we create a really detailed profile for the student that highlights their areas of development. This profile is really, really important because that gives us the opportunity to have a really deep knowledge of the student and ensure that they're challenged, and then that profile then follows the student through their learning journey at St Catherine's.
Thank you, Neil. And Liz, is there anything you'd like to add about the fielding class? I know we've had great success with introducing that this year, 2020.
We actually last year sat down and we saw a need for this to happen. I think for a long time St Catherine's has done learning support so well that we felt that we needed to cater for all abilities, and the fielding class has done just that. I think the parents have loved it, the students have loved it. We've made sure that they are still part of the year group, but they have those special inquiry-based learning experiences to really start them thinking and moving beyond.
Next, we have Ella, head girl, who has been with us from kindergarten through to Year 12, also known as a survivor, and Hallie, our deputy head girl, who's also a boarder. Girls, thank you for joining us today. As students, can you please talk us through what the school's prep centre is and what are the opportunities available on site at the school when using the prep centre?
So the prep centre is essentially a library. It's filled with thousands of books, there's couches and there's desks for studying. It's supervised by teachers and Year 13 students, which I find really beneficial because we can receive one-on-one support from them, especially when we have upcoming exams. It's open from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. for Year 7 to 10 and 7:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. for Years 11 and 12. We boarders specifically use the prep centre from 7 to 9 on weeknights, and during that time we have access to all of the fiction and non-fiction books, any textbooks, current and past, that we might need, as well as the printers. Years 11 and 12 on Saturdays have access to the research centre, and we then also in Year 12 get the privilege of using the silent study room, which is a very big opportunity for us all.
Yeah. The Prep Centre really is just one of the great facilities offered by St Cath's though. Like, I've had so many incredible experiences here, like being in team sport or drama productions or music ensembles. My time here has been very rewarding, and especially working with Hallie and the rest of the prefects, it's been really enjoyable for me across all 13 years I've spent here.
And girls, you've obviously had a really interesting year. Tell us how you feel as to how the year's progressed so far, and tell us about your thoughts about moving into exam time.
So I think initially when we were separated from school and we went to online learning, people were a bit upset about missing out on some St Cath's events. But I think we talked about this in assembly the other day. What we've gained from this experience definitely outweighs what we've lost. I think we've learnt gratitude about the teachers, spending time with friends, and basically school in general. I think walking back in through the school gates, everyone was just so happy to be here, which was incredible. It was an amazing feeling. Yeah, and we really tried to keep the school spirit alive. We have a student Instagram page which is run by the prefects, so we were uploading things on there most days and in the holidays as well to keep students connected with us.
Next, we have Ms. Rebecca Herbert, Director of Boarding and Year 12 Mentor. Rebecca has been with us for 15 years and specialises in the humanities. She has run debating, been a tertiary advisor at the school, and is revered for her down-to-earth, practical approach to managing students. When not at school, she is busy running around after her twin 4-year-old daughters. Thank you, Rebecca. Many independent schools offer boarding facilities. Please tell us the benefits of boarding at St Catherine's.
Well, I think there are many benefits of boarding at St Catherine's. One of the things that we really focus on is being nurturing and supportive for our girls. Obviously, boarders are living away from home, and our boarders come from country New South Wales, other parts of Australia, and also, different places around the world. So they are away from home. So we really work closely with them to get to know them really well and support them in everything that they do. Our facilities are really second to none. So in a minute, I'll introduce you to Yolanda, who's one of our Year 11 boarders. But I think one of the highlights for one of the things that the boarders talk about is the fact that nearly everyone has their own room, so they have their own space, which is certainly a point of difference for us. Another thing that we really try and do is encourage our girls to be independent, so to be able to do things for themselves, and really establishing good habits and habits for life. Hallie talked about the prep centre, so that discipline of going to prep every night for 2 hours and working really consistently. Another thing that we do is take technology from the girls and we lock it up overnight. I think some people would balk at that and say that it sounds a little bit strict, but really it is such a good discipline for us all to be able to put away our devices and get a good night's sleep. And I think by the end, our girls are, really thanking us for doing that. So I will introduce you to Yolanda. She's, as I said, one of our international boarders, and she's in Year 11, and perhaps she could talk a little bit about her experience.
So I started in St Cath's and in a boarding house since Year 9. And what I really like about the boarding house is that the boarding house is really a warm and welcoming community. When I first started in Australia, it wasn't really easy for me. I speak not really good English, and I don't have many friends around here, and I was far away from my family. But the boarding house staff and friends around here and teachers around here has been really supportive to me. One of the big things that boarding house told me is independence, and although that I didn't really like the rule that the boarding house taking away our phones at night, but eventually I'm really grateful for that.
As well, following on from what Yolanda was saying, is what works really well in boarding is that Rebecca and our Assistant Director of Boarding teach in the day school as well. So there's a really lovely holistic approach. So if there's a problem with the girls or they're worried about something or finding something difficult, they can liaise so easily with all the other staff in school. So that works really well. And Rebecca lives on site, Deb lives on site, I live on site. We have an annual lunch where the boarders come to my house for lunch. So there's lots of, there's a community on the campus when other girls go home as well, which is really nice.
Next, we have Ms. Kirsty Walsh. Kirsty is an old girl, and for any of you that don't understand that, that means she attended St Catherine's. She loved it so much she couldn't stay away, so she trained as a teacher and has been with us in the junior school for the past 5 years. Kirsty is a kindergarten specialist and has been instrumental in formulating the kindergarten to year 2 strategies at St Cath's. Kirsty, as a junior school teacher and stage leader with experience across kindergarten to year 2, what is unique about St Catherine's approach to those early years of education?
I think really, and it's been touched on a lot, it is that nurturing environment that we have here at St Catherine's. We really do focus on educating the whole child. It's so much more than just academics, and that really does start in kindergarten. You only have to walk through the corridors of the junior school and you feel that buzz and the energy that happens down there, and I would explain it as enchanting. It's just such a wonderful place to be. And I think our wonderful dedicated staff who go above and beyond what is humanly possible at times for our girls, creating individual learning plans for all of our girls, working closely with Learning Enrichment, who really do assist us in making sure that every girl's needs are met across all the different strengths that we have. And our team approach with parents, we have lots of open communication. We really like to help create the foundations with families, with staff, and I think that makes a really big difference. It really feels like a close-knit family in the junior school. And I would have to say our wonderful facilities and all the amazing opportunities that our girls have right from kindergarten. They get to explore their passions, whether it's singing, dancing, drama. They get to actually explore all of that right from kindergarten, which I think is unlike anywhere else. And I think every student comes into our classroom and we have the pleasure of being able to help them unlock their full potential. And I really do think it's just such a unique place. It's a very caring and loving place.
Elizabeth, is there anything you'd like to add?
When I start and I speak to parents, I always say the junior school is a happy place. And it's exactly what Kirsty said. When you walk through the halls, the corridors, you just hear children who are happily engaged in learning. They're excited about their learning. They have smiles on their faces. It's a wonderful, nurturing place.
Next, Reverend Kylie Wilson. Welcome, Kylie. You're in your 11th year at St Catherine's and are Head of Biblical Studies and the Chaplain of the school. Kylie has a strong faith and enjoys discussing with our girls the intricacies of various religions. Kylie, we are the oldest Anglican girls' school in Australia and we welcome all religions and those without faith to our diverse community. Talk to us about that, please.
Sure. So we are a Christian school, but we do welcome people from all backgrounds and religions. Now, I think we have a fantastic Christian education program at our school. Each week, students go to chapel, and they have a service that's based on the Bible but aims to be really engaging. And they also have a biblical studies lesson every week. Now, in the classroom environment, we really try and foster honesty and openness. We want students to ask their questions. And we particularly focus on students developing their critical thinking skills, both about Christianity, but also about their own worldview. I really think it is so valuable for students to understand the Bible so they can understand our world, our history, our culture, our art, all sorts of things like that, other worldviews as well. And finally, I guess I'd want to say that all of our school values are really based on the Bible. And so, for example, the Bible says that each and every person is valuable and important because they're made in God's image. And that really drives us to individually care for each and every student in our school.
Next, Mr. Carl Caputo. Carl is Assistant Head of English and has been with us for 6 years and has a real passion for helping students express their voice through writing. Carl founded the school's literary magazine Mirrored in 2018 to allow students a space to share their writing and art. Carl loves a poem He tries to incorporate it into every facet of his daily life, whether on or off campus, and he's also an avid plant whisperer, with great success apparently. Kyle, this is a burning question and is very much an ongoing hot topic. Not everyone is a seasoned reader, nor does everyone have the love of an English word. So how do you encourage girls to read and write, given more and more of their time, particularly at home, is spent on a device?
Well, thank you. I have to say, as an English teacher, that reading has been a source of entertainment and connection long before the arrival of TikTok. And so, as an English department, we hope to put in place practices that allow students to realize that reading can be even more fun and interesting than scrolling through their Instagram stories. And so we collaborate closely with the Research Center to develop activities and games so students are regularly discussing their outside reading with each other. We also regularly invite authors into the school to discuss the joy of reading and writing. And at the start of all of our lessons in year 7 to 10, we have personal reading time for the students to develop a culture of reading in each classroom so that we're setting students up with good reading habits as they enter the senior school. We also have a range of texts that we choose to use in our curriculum: poetry, nonfiction, speeches, even digital texts, from a range of voices from different times and places. So students can find their own interest in reading and pursue their passion. We really believe, as a part of our teaching philosophy, that reading can be a great source of empathy, and it can be a way for students to connect to themselves and connect to others and the wider world. All of our English teachers are passionate readers, and we really hope to share that passion with our students.
Do you believe there is a way to find a style of book and or reading for every single child? And if so, how do we as parents possibly navigate that to support what the school's doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that people are natural storytellers. There's a story for everyone. And we really develop reading lists for every year group, for every interest, so that teachers can recommend stories and novels, whether it's novels, short stories, or any kind of book that students can kind of pursue and be interested in.
So we're now back to Deb Clancy, one of our twin pillars. Deb, can you please provide some insight into the school's anti-bullying policy?
We do have a really strong quality behaviour and anti-bullying policy here at school. And we do teach the girls really specifically what we expect from them in terms of respectful behaviours at school. And we do deal with those behaviours if they occur at school with the girl and often with their family. We teach the girls skills to actively solve issues that they identify with their friendships or with across schools. So if they have an issue with their friendships, Daisy's Wellbeing Program will teach them having an assertive communication or assertive conversation with their peer rather than involving the whole of the year group. And we also have any number of staff that the girls have access to if they want to raise a concern. They can email, they can speak to staff, they can speak to their year mentor, they can go and speak to the counsellor. So there are staff that are willing to help the girls and speak to the parents for them. We want the girls to take personal responsibility for their own behaviour in the senior school and in the junior school, and we will work really closely with the parents if we identify any issues. We have a zero tolerance for bullying at school. That's not to say that we don't have behaviours that are not great sometimes, and I think every school would say that, but we act on them really quickly and we will deal with them really quickly here at school.
Kylie, how many girls are in each year group, and do you cap class sizes? And in addition, do you stream girls for any subjects in the senior school?
Thank you. There are approximately 120 students in each year group. Generally speaking, those girls are divided into classes that are approximately 18 to 22 in size. Having said that, though, in year 11 and 12 in particular, there are a number of classes that the student number is quite low. So we're really sort of catering to those students' individual needs. Generally speaking, streaming is done in mathematics from year 7. And then for all other subjects, it's broad ability groupings.
Okay, thank you. And also, can you please advise everyone about the position we have with devices at school in terms of how the girls learn? Are they on laptops, PCs, what we do at St Catherine's?
Absolutely. I think we have successfully found the balance with providing the students the opportunities to develop information and communication technology skills, so those ICT skills, as well as remembering and using our pen and paper skills. The girls are afforded learning opportunities in the classroom with ICT to allow them to gain a greater understanding of very abstract and complex ideas. I'd like to also pass over to Caitlin, who, in addition to being a humanities teacher and a head of house, is also an ICT integrator.
So ICT is information communication technology. Like Kylie said, when we are using technology, or when the girls are using technology at St Cath's, it is designed to be very purposeful and authentic, and the goal is to enhance their learning. And our ability to teach them and guide them through their learning. So we really focus on making sure that when we use technology in the classroom, it's to develop the girls' skills and understanding. And I think one of the core aims that we have with that is making sure that when they leave St Cath's, they have the skills that they need to be successful in a world that is constantly changing. And that really is a core focus for my role in terms of looking at how we integrate technology into the classroom. From Year 5 to Year 9, we have a one-to-one Surface program, so the girls all have their own device with them every day in the classroom. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're using it every day in the classroom, but it's there as a tool, like I said before, to enhance their learning. And then in Year 10, 11 and 12, we have a Bring Your Own Device program where the girls can select from a pre-approved list of devices, their computer, and that program is designed to reflect the independence and responsibility for their learning that girls in Year 10, 11 and 12 are starting to show.
Thank you for joining us today. We really hope we have given you a great insight into our staff and our students at St Catherine's School. If there are any questions that we haven't been able to answer for you, please contact either Mandy or myself at the Enrolments Office.